Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8. We have read verse 35, we're on verse 36.
Yes.
1:8:36. Queen Kunti is going through some of the reasons for Krishna's appearance. Shanvanti gayanti gurnanti tikshnasha smaranti nandanti tavehitam jana taeva pashyanti chirena tavakam pava pravahu paramam padambujam. New meter. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others' doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Wow.
That was very similar to what we were looking for last week.
Yeah, remember, I think it was Nancy, you were looking for you mentioned this point of appreciating other people's service,
Yeah.
and we searched far and wide in 11th canto. We found 11.9 something,
Yeah.
the beautiful verse, not 9, 11.2, near the end of the second chapter. This very verse says the exact same thing. Those who take pleasure in others' hearing and chanting certainly see Krishna's lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. All right, well, Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, full of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Sri Krishna was personally present in the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupala. This is an all-star list of demons from the Krishna book, 10th canto. Well, Ravana is from the Ramayana. Were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc., by the people in general, but in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord eye to eye.
I see face to face. My book says face to face.
So at some point it's been shifted.
Okay.
See the Lord eye to eye or face to face. Same thing. The reason is that the first item, Shravana, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from them. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the Asuras and others. Asuras means those who are inimical to higher power. Non-devotional persons. In the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with his conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as his married wives, the Dvarka, are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer, so a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord never indulges in such hearings. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with him. Hearing of all these scriptures is essential. Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shlakya Chakshurudmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual masters opened my eyes with a torchlamp of knowledge. Ever my respectful obeisance unto them. Vanchakalpatarupyascha Kripasantubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, can fulfill the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhupada focuses the majority of this purport on the primacy of the hearing process. Out of all the different kinds of things that you can do in bhakti, hearing is first. And the necessity of hearing from the right source, which I think needs to be clarified a little bit so that it's not misunderstood. In other words, what are the qualifications of the right source? Essentially, it's necessary to hear from those who have devotion, or those who are following someone who has devotion, or those who are following someone who's following someone who has devotion. And the more advanced one is in their devotional service, the more potent the sound vibration is that comes from their mouth. The descriptions of advanced devotional service are given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. And there is a description of the symptoms of bhava. Bhava means the awakening of devotional ecstasy. It's the stage right before prema. It's quite advanced. And in the Srimad Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I don't recall what section right now, there is a list of, I think 9 symptoms of this level. And this kind of thing, a description of how to understand advancement in devotees in their devotion, is given in texts like Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, even Nectar of Instruction, which is quite a condensed book. It's only 11 verses. It's a handbook of how to practice bhakti. Even there, in that handbook where Rupa Goswami has condensed essential knowledge, he considers it essential knowledge for us to understand what are levels of devotees. And in that book, can I have the Nectar of Instruction?
Yeah.
He talks about, I'll go back to Chaitanya Charitamrita first, then we'll get the Nectar of Instruction. In the symptoms of bhava, notably, all of the symptoms that are given there in that section of Chaitanya Charitamrita are measurable. They're actually observable, in other words. They're not just like, oh, somebody who's at the level of bhava has great feeling for Krishna. It's like, yeah, that's true. But how do you know? Like, I could say I have pure love for Krishna, and how could you prove or disprove that, right? On its own, you couldn't really do that. So Shastra gives us things that are more observable. For example, in that section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's mentioned somebody who's at the level of bhava has great hankering to hear about Krishna. They have attachment for his name. They're very attached to his places of pastimes. There might be one in the study downstairs if you don't see it there.
Oh, right here. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. They're very attached to Krishna's places of pastimes, his Dhamma. They abhor wasting even a second, even a minute of time. They're very eager to engage all their time in Krishna's service. They're very humble, very meek. So these kinds of things are things to look for in advanced devotees. In the Nectar of Instruction, verse 5, there's a description of the 3 different basic levels of devotional advancement. Krishneti yasi giritam manasadriyeta, digshasti chet pranatipischa bhajantamisham, shushrushaya bhajanam isham ananyamanya, bhajana vignyam ananyamanya, nandari shunya hridam ipsita sangalabdhya. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. So anybody who even says Hare Krishna, we should understand them to be an advanced person. Lord Chaitanya directly says this in his own words in Bengali, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You should honor anybody who says Krishna's name and consider them the best of the common person, because if they can even say that name, that's very powerful, and it automatically purifies them. This is like a beginning devotional service, right? If somebody can even say the name of Lord Krishna, you should offer respect in their mind to them. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshiping the deity. Somebody takes initiation, and second initiation, they're actually now qualified to serve the deity. You should offer respect with your bodies. I mean, you should get down on the ground and prostrate yourself before such a person. They're significantly advanced. They're a madhyamadikari, a middle devotee. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. You should give your life to somebody who is devoid of the propensity to criticize others and is advanced in devotional service. And Prabhupada defines advancement in devotional service in this purport, again, in measurable ways. So don't let anybody tell you Prabhupada just said, like, serve a pure devotee and that's it. He defines a pure devotee. Let me find the sections of the purport. Uttamadikari, which is the Sanskrit for advanced devotee, is not interested in blaspheming others. Their heart is completely clean. Towards the end of the purport. Out of many such Vaishnavas, meaning those who have come to the middle level, one may be found to be very seriously, here's a list, very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord, strictly following all the regulative principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds on japa beads, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as an Uttamadikari, a highly advanced devotee, and their association should always be sought. This also goes with not interested in criticizing others, taking no joy in that. One may do that as a service, but they don't take pleasure in it. All of that conforms to the standards given by Madhvacharya in his commentary to a famous verse in the 11th canto about the symptoms of bhava as well, where he says that there's only 2 symptoms that you cannot fake and you cannot replace, that are always there in the transcendental person of an advanced devotee, which is that they're always steady and the words from their mouth are always for the benefit of others. So I'm saying all this because we want to hear from the right source, and so hopefully that gives a bit of an insight into what the right source is, because Bhagavad Gita has been popular since the 1780s or whatever in the Western world, when German and British historians and archaeologists discovered that India was home to amazing poetry like Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, exactly that text, has been popular for a long time in the West. And yet, we see that it was just of academic interest and people's lives weren't changed. They weren't affected by it as a text the way that devotees are affected by it. Why? Because the interest was purely academic. What does that mean? It means that somewhere deep down, unconsciously perhaps, one is not prepared to accept Krishna's words as truth. Which is on some level understandable because he makes some wild claims. He actually says that he's God. And if someone's just like not ready to receive that, then it's just like, well, this text is full of amazing poetry and like, isn't it cute how they have their own mythology of God, and like whatever. And it's just like, it's dismissed. There's a dismissal, which Krishna addresses in Bhagavad Gita. He addresses in the 7th chapter and 9th chapter how people dismiss him and how foolish that is and the ways that they actually view spirituality because of that dismissal. He says in the 9th chapter, foolish people being bewildered by my own Maya reject the idea that I'm the Supreme Person. And then they worship the universe as one, or all the demigods as like the supreme, or, they view themselves as the supreme. But actually, I'm the source of all of these things. He says it directly, chapter 9. But one can read all that and still think, like, that's cute. I really like the Sanskrit. This is nice. And then that's it. It's lip deep. It's ear deep. It's not heart deep. Because it's not hearing from such a person does not change the heart. Because such a person's heart has not been changed. Right? Although it may give one a hint that there's something else in Bhagavad Gita, and they may explore further. So we want to hear from devotees. And we are. And we see that in hearing from devotees, our lives, our hearts, the trajectory of our existence becomes changed. Because to the extent that someone else's trajectory is changed, they can also change yours. You can't push anybody any faster than you're going. That's just physics. So similarly, we have to hear from the right source. Now, the other point that I wanted to bring out here, Prabhupada, the verse rather, says that those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or continues to take pleasure in others as devotional activities, will see you. So this point of continuousness, in the chapter Divinity and Divine Service, which we just finished reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1 study, I presented 126 as kind of the thesis statement of the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Where, I want to remember the Sanskrit. Can I have the first word?
Can you tell me that?
126.
Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah. Give me the first letter.
Okay, it is first letter.
Yeah.
S. A.
So, yeah. So, sorry. This is just good for the brain. If you don't let somebody fill the blanks for you, your brain has to do it.
Savai.
Savai pong samparo dharmo yato bhakti ratokshaje ahai tukya pratyata yayatma suprasidati.
Yeah.
Savai pong samparo dharmo. This is the supreme occupation for humanity at large. That by which one attains to pure devotional service. Such devotional service must be uninterrupted and unmotivated to completely satisfy the self.
Yeah.
So unmotivated means you have no other inclination. You're not trying to get something from your service. It's just service for service's sake. Prahlad says this in Canto 7, where Nrsingadev offers him any benediction he wants out of love. And Prahlad says, I'm not a vanik. I'm not a merchant. I didn't serve you to get something. I didn't serve you for currency. I serve you because I love you. It's my place to serve you. I will always serve you, and I'm never going to stop. I serve you for service. This is uninterrupted, rather unmotivated devotional service. Therefore, we worship Prahlad Maharaj. Uninterrupted means continuous. That's what Kunti is saying here. Continuous hearing. The word in Sanskrit here is abhikshnashaha, continuously. One who continuously. So this is giving us a hint about like the thickening of devotion, where it's like it moves from daily to constant, right? First, it moves from sporadic to regular, daily. You have daily practice, and then it becomes constant. If a very advanced devotee is always thinking about Krishna, that's actually possible to do and still engage in all of your necessary functions in the world. That's not possible to do with anything else. You can't always think of anything else or anyone else. Krishna actually being the source. You can get kirtan stuck in your head. I think everybody who's listening to this has had kirtan stuck in their head, and it just goes, and you do your thing, and it's still there. That's thinking about Krishna. That's hearing about Krishna. Now, what if I told you you could be in love with the holy name for the rest of your life, and you could have the kirtan going on always, and it just gets better and better? Right?
Yeah.
Pretty good, right? That's continuous hearing, chanting, and remembering. So Kunti is talking about that level. The other thing that she brings out here is this point of taking pleasure in other person's service, which is such a deep point. Can I have the 11th Canto, Part 1? I want to find exactly that verse we found last time, because we're centering in on this point here. How powerful the will of the living entity is. How powerful the appreciating capacity is. So today's verse, 1:836, is corroborated. See, we're like lawyers here. Here in the Krishna consciousness movement, we're like lawyers.
Gathering our evidence.
How are we like lawyers? These books are law books. Actually, Prabhupada said this. He said these books are like our law books. I'm not saying. Prabhupada is saying. That we study them thoroughly threadbare, and in doing so, we discuss and come to the conclusions of how bhakti works. So I'm looking for a
11,
verse.
2, 12.
1, 2, 12. So 11, 2, 12 corroborates. It corroborates.
Corroborates.
Look up the word corroborate.
Okay.
What does that word mean?
How do you spell that?
Corroborate.
Okay, corroborate. It's a lot of R's. Confirm or give support to.
Okay.
A statement, a theory, or a finding.
What's its derivative? What's it from? Latin. Co means with.
Oh, I don't know. Does it say that there?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's not important. To verify, authorize. So this verse corroborates. The verse says, 11:2-12, pure devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord is spiritually so potent that simply by hearing about such transcendental service, by chanting its glories in response, by meditating on it, by respectfully and faithfully accepting it, or by praising the devotional service of others, even persons who hate the demigods and all other living beings can be immediately purified. Wow. Okay.
It comes from corroborare, which means to strengthen together.
To strengthen together. We've just strengthened together this point. Yeah, Tanya put the same thing in chat. Thank you. Corroborare.
Corroborare.
The co prefix usually means with. So we've strengthened together this point. So it should be very firm in our minds. What is the point? The point is, even if you just appreciate the transcendental service of another person, you make advancement. In the material world, things don't work like this. If I appreciate the activities of Michael Jordan on a basketball court, that will not give me the ability to get massive airtime and slam dunk the ball. I promise you I can't do that. I've never been able to do that. That depends on other things. It's not a bad thing, appreciation, actually.
Right.
It's a good thing. It's in the mode of goodness. But actually, it doesn't give you access to the thing you're appreciating in the material sphere. In the spiritual sphere, it does. Which is an incredible shortcut. And I mentioned this in the other time this topic came up. That appreciating the service of another gives one access to that service. It means you get some of the devotional advancement of that service, right? Which means that we get so much benefit by being in Sangha. Why? Because we're around the service of others. We're around the devotion of others. Actually, to be around devotees means to be around service, because they're not separated. They're not separable. You cannot have a devotee without devotion, right? I didn't read it. I flipped through it, and my friend read it and summarized it for me. A book called Salted Bread. It's a heartbreaking book about the devotees in Russia. Some of whom this is before the Iron Curtain fell, and things were quite dark. And some of these devotees all of them were practicing in secret. All of them were practicing illegally. And they were arrested for their practice. And they were put into a Siberian prison. Siberia is like the remotest, coldest part of Russia, where they have, I don't know if they still do, they had prisons there for anybody who was an enemy of the state under communist Russia. And it was bleak. Man, it was really bleak what these devotees went through. But they lived on salted bread, hence the title. But they would not stop their practice. And one of them passed away, and another one survived and wrote the book. But they wouldn't stop. And even the one who passed away kept chanting. And as far as I understand from how it went down, they were went back to Godhead. So the devotee and their devotional service are never separated. If there's a devotee, you will come in touch with service. Anyone who saw Prabhupada, they came in touch with service. Why? Because he's always chanting. He's engaging them in service. He's treating them like a part and parcel of Krishna. They come to his program. What happens? He engages them somehow or other. Here, chant, cut up these apples for Krishna, clean up the floor, do something for Krishna. It all becomes service. They all become swept up in the flow of his own devotional service to his spiritual master. So by being around other devotees, you actually can magnify your own devotional service because our lives are so short. Our capacity is so small. Actually, like very, very, very kanishta, very like elementary devotee consciousness is the idea that, oh my God, I'm actually so powerful. I can actually do so much. And the more advanced we become, the more we realize, like, yeah, that's kind of true, but at the same time, I'm so small. And I'm so limited. Even though Krishna's empowerment is unlimited, I'm actually such an imperfect container for it that I can only ever do so much. Even Prabhupada, even the greatest devotees of all time feel like this. So wisdom is recognizing, like, yeah, so I really want to surround myself with devotees, right? And what happens when you do? You get to actually hear from them and be around their bhava, their mood. And what is the Bhagavatam but a series of conversations where one devotee is like, oh my God, you met Krishna, please tell me about him. And that other devotee is like, yeah, but I'm not really a devotee. You should hear about what I heard about from this other devotee. And like, it's just a series of appreciations. That's all it is. The Bhagavatam is devotees just appreciating other devotees constantly. And that's what we should be doing. Because if you can actually just do that, then you come in touch with the bhava of that devotee, right? So if you're just like, wow, I can't believe how that devotee is like serving Lord Chaitanya with their flower seva. I can't believe how he's been decorated. Like, I can't do that. And I can't. Like, I actually can't do that. And maybe I can be trained to do it. Maybe. It's a maybe. But at this point, I can't do it. Like, 15 years, I've never learned how to do that. I've never learned how to make a nice garland for Lord Chaitanya. I've never done that. It's not really... I've helped. But when I try to dress the deities, I realize that the mind that Krishna gave me, that I've earned with my karma in this life, is like very detail-oriented. And I become super, super fixated on like it's not good enough. And it's like, it's really difficult for me to dress because of that. So I stopped. I did other services instead. And I'm just like, wow, look how Lord Chaitanya's been dressed. That's amazing. And so that means that I'm actually like on the altar with that pujari. I'm actually there with the person who garlanded these garlands and made these flower arrangements. I'm actually there in that bhav. Like, what were they listening to? What were they chanting? What were they feeling for their gurus and Krishna? It's like, I get an echo of that. I actually get an echo of that. What a gift, right? And the more I appreciate it, the louder that echo is. And so there's this like childlike state of constantly appreciating the devotion of others that just puts one into this state of being like cocooned by bhakti. And you want that. Because then you can continuously hear, chant, and repeat the activities of Krishna. Because otherwise, it's just you, right? And if you're very advanced, you could do that. You know, if you're very advanced, you could be Srila Prabhupada and get on a boat and have 2 heart attacks and be like, Krishna, I don't care. Like, I just want to serve my spiritual master. Like, I'm begging you, anything. Just help these people understand what I've come here to share, you know? You can do that on your own if you're a very advanced devotee. Because then you're never alone. You're always with your spiritual master. You're always with Krishna. But if you're not a very advanced devotee, don't try to imitate one. Just surround yourself with the devotional service of others and appreciate what they're doing, and then you'll be continuously hearing. Because if you're not qualified to continuously hear yet, and you sit down and you try to read Bhagavatam, you're like, yeah, I'm convinced Bhagavatam is where it's at. Like, I just want to read Bhagavatam. Great, I celebrate that. But how far will you get on your own, right? Mm-hmm. I will share a life hack. If you want to read more Bhagavatam, get other people in the room with you. And if you can, get the more advanced devotees you can get, the better, because their taste for hearing will infect everybody else. As much as any material infection, you'll catch their disease. And what is that disease? Feeling. You'll have feeling for Krishna. If somebody in the room has feeling for Krishna, you will have feeling for Krishna. So get as many devotees as you can in a room to hear and chant, and then you can hear for longer. And surround yourself with devotees who are serving Krishna in multifarious ways and appreciate their service, because then you'll move from your service to appreciating someone else's service, to appreciating someone else's service, to more of your service, to maybe you space out for a little while. Then you do some more service. Then you appreciate someone else's service. And gradually, your life becomes a constant state of either directly or indirectly serving Krishna. And that is where you want to be. Until you can actually be, able to infect everyone with your own unceasing waves of devotion. And even then, we find advanced devotees hanker for the association of devotees. Srila Prabhupada was so grateful for the association of his godbrothers when he could have it. That's there. He loved the association of B.R. Sridhar Swami and others. He was so grateful for it, and they would talk about Krishna in such wonderful, deep ways. And again, in the Bhagavatam, the great devotees like Narada Muni and Uddhava, they're like, as soon as they have the association with another devotee, they're like asking questions and hearing and chanting and hankering. And Jiva Goswami talks about this. He says advanced devotees actually, when they find other devotees, their preference is to hear from them. Right? So there's this constant competition to like, I want to hear from you, you're the real devotee. No, I want to hear from you, you're the real devotee. And so that's actually the symptom, is because born of humility and the appreciating capacity, right? They're like, who am I to speak? Like, I want to hear from you. Plus they know, I don't even know what's locked in this devotee's heart. There's something magical there. Please unlock the treasure you have and give it to me, because I'm such a poor fool. I want it. I want that treasure you have. So we should be like that. And on the other end of the spectrum, the new devotee who's like first day, chanting Hare Krishna, they can think they're God's gift to everyone else. So, all glories to their enthusiasm, but don't be so proud to think that like you're God's gift to anything, because we actually become advanced by appreciating the service of others. Hare Krishna. So, to summarize the points, there were kind of a few different points. One was we have to hear. Two is you have to hear from the right source. And we qualify the right source by various texts, including Nectar of Instruction, verse 5, including Chaitanya Charitamrita, including Madhvacharya's commentary on what is an advanced devotee. And we came up with a list of symptoms of advancement. And the primary one is that they actually are already advanced. That's what we have to hear from, people who are already advanced, as per the symptoms listed. So, that being established, then we talk about continuous hearing, continuous service. And this, once again, this point of moving from sporadic service to daily service or regular service to continuous. And we gave a bit of a life hack based on Kunti, and we corroborated with 11.2.12 Bhagavatam. Was it 11.2.12?
11:12. Yeah.
Yeah, 11.2.12. About how if you appreciate the service of others, you actually can come to continuous appreciation, a continuous devotional service, because you actually come in touch with the service of others by that appreciation. And it's so powerful that even if you hate everybody, what a wild thing to say. If you hate everyone and all the demigods, you're like not even neutral, not even kind of like grumpy about it. You just hate everybody. If you can learn to appreciate the devotional service of somebody else, that seed can purify all of your viciousness, right? So here's another thing I'll say. I just summarized the class. I'm gonna add one more point, then we'll take reflections. This is actually like a really sneaky thing that I've noticed advanced devotees do. His Holiness Radhanath Swami is a master of this. If you're around somebody who's not used to devotees, they're not used to bhakti, just get them to find one thing about bhakti they like and ask them what they think about that and get them to glorify it. And the kind of like silver bullet is prasadam. Just get really first class prasadam that's made by a devotee who loves Krishna. And it's also really nice food, right? It's been prepared like materially very well, and serve it to these people. And we know what it's like when people take prasadam. We're like, wow, this is great. Fan that spark. Wow, what do you think about this food, right? Just keep getting to say, like, oh, this is the best I've ever had. This is so great. Because what are they saying? They're saying Krishna is the best I've ever had. Krishna is so great. Krishna is delicious. Krishna is filling my belly. They're saying that. They just don't know it. So I've seen Radhanath Swami does this, and he's like famous for it. Because that's how you get people to appreciate the devotional service of others. They're appreciating the cook. They're appreciating Krishna in the form of prasadam. They're appreciating the servers. They're appreciating you. They're appreciating all that, and they don't even know it. And they wonder why they feel so good. So it's a really powerful thing. And it's how you get people in the door. It's how you fan that spark. It's how you fan your own spark. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Those are some thoughts. So please fan my spark because I need your help. What did you hear that you appreciate?
Well, I have a question.
Mm.
There's so much I appreciate, but first I have a question of hearing and chanting. So hearing is said first.
Right.
And we just
Shrinvanti
spoke.
Gayanti, hearing, chanting.
Right. And you just gave this beautiful class around hearing.
Uh-huh.
Right. So can you connect the dots for me or just speak to a little bit about, I know we're told Prabhupada said that 90% of our advancement comes from chanting.
Yeah.
It comes from japa.
Right.
Right. So why hearing first?
Well, how are you going to chant japa unless you've heard the Maha Mantra? And how are you chanting japa unless you're attentively hearing the Maha Mantra coming out of your mouth? Right? Because like third class japa is like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And it's like, that's japa, that's chanting, for sure. But is it lip deep or is it heart deep, as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said?
Right.
So, what was today's japa affirmation?
Oh yeah, it was about hearing the names and knowing that they're inherently in them, that there's blessings and love and...
Yeah, hearing with intention.
Yeah.
Hearing with conviction.
Yeah.
Hearing to receive.
Hearing to receive.
Receiver mode versus achiever mode, right?
Yeah.
So if you're hearing in that mode, you're really hearing. You're hearing so much that actually you're sinking into that.
So the
You're
benefit
that.
of chanting is that we are hearing the name.
It's both hearing and chanting,
Uh-huh.
But you're actively applying hearing and you're actively applying chant. They're feeding into each other.
Right. Like
But of the two, hearing comes first.
Hmm.
Because it's Krishna's name is in sonic form.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can serve that sonic form by hearing or you can serve that sonic form by speaking it. Both are there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're receivers. Right? So fundamentally we're receiving. And receiving is hearing. The hearing is the receptive mode. Right? And so that's why it's listed first.
Okay.
We have to hear from devotees before we ever become convinced we should chant Hare Krishna. We have to hear from Bhagavatam. It's all receptive.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord Chaitanya in his infinite wisdom and grace has made such an accessible program, right? Where just all you have to do is receive. You don't have to be the boss. Don't try to chant a perfect round. Don't try to be like leading a great kirtan. Just hear. Just get yourself in the flow of someone else's bhakti. Just appreciate their bhakti, which is also like hearing, right? Just be receptive and appreciate someone else's bhakti, and then you'll level up. Then you can actually start to open your mouth and say something useful, right? So
Thank you.
that's my sense.
Mm-hmm.
But fundamentally, they're not different. Like you can't hear without chanting. You can't chant without hearing.
Right. And I love how you spoke about the appreciation loop, right? And being around other devotees and appreciating their service, appreciating their devotion versus comparing or being jealous of or feeling less than because of it, but actually appreciating it genuinely. That also, you also receive benefit from that.
It's all over the Shastra. All over the Shastra. The most advanced devotees are so amazed by the service of others.
Yeah.
And if you reflect on what it's like to be jealous, envious, feel insufficient, have lack of self-esteem, have anxiety because you come up against the greatness of others. Jiva Goswami defines envy as the inability to tolerate the greatness of another person.
Mm-hmm.
If you reflect on the experience of these things, God, is that miserable? Oh my God, what a miserable condition. When you're not in that state, it's pitiable. I feel sorry for myself when I'm in that state. I feel sorry for future shaman who's going to fall into that state. What a pathetic situation to be so weak, so lost, that you're like seeing someone else's greatness makes you, oh, yuck. Oh, what about me? Why can't I have that? I'm so pathetic. I don't have any value. I want that. What they have. It's like such a miserable situation. And the contrast of like, if you can feel like elevated, uplifted by coming in touch with someone else's good qualities, how expansive that is, how liberating that is, right? Mm-hmm. You forget all about your troubles because now the world is full of qualities. It's full of people with amazing qualities. Like, look at Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was like always giving credit to the devotees. He was finding good qualities in materialists. It's like, what a wonderful way to live your life. Where everywhere you go, you're like, yeah, there's problems, but I'm looking at a part and parcel of Krishna, and they don't know it, and their friends don't know it, and their dog doesn't know it, but I know, and Krishna knows that they're full of wonderful qualities. What a wonderful way to live. What a blissful existence. So, I want that. I'm tired of being miserable. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the appreciation loop.
Mm-hmm.
More reflections.
I I love the phrase awakening of spiritual ecstasy. I mean, that just feels like,
Yeah, where's that from?
the subtitle of our path, right? Like just, and depending on where you started, like we all started through hearing or being in association with, a devotee or somebody that just
Yeah.
happened to chant it or sung it on an album years ago, and we didn't know why we were so attracted to it, like George
Did I say
Harrison.
those words? The waking of devotional ecstasy, or was it a quote from a Shastra?
So it was kind of the definition of bhava.
Oh yeah, did I say that?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it's the beginning of awakening of devotional ecstasy is bhava, and then it thickens into prema. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I interrupt you?
No, that was it. That was my complete thought. I just think that's such a
Yeah.
beautiful phrase. There's really not much else to say about it. I think that's just, like I said, the subtitle of what it is that we're experiencing, or at least that's how I feel about it. Like I want to do all the Krishna things, like
Yeah.
I know I still have to work and, earn my paycheck, but in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, I just want to do all the Krishna stuff.
It's the best. I've tried the other stuff. It's not as good.
Right.
Krishna stuff is the best. Yeah. It it is our whole lives. Is just the awakening of devotional ecstasy, and then when it's awoken, awake,
Oh, yeah.
Awakened.
awakened, um, go woke or go broke. It just gets more and more awake. It just gets thicker.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is we don't even know that that's what's happening at first. When someone comes to Bhakti, they're like, you can tell them like, congratulations on taking your first steps into like the path of awakening devotional ecstasy. And they'll be like, what? Bro, I just came here because I heard you guys have good food. And like, I thought that girl was cute. Like, you know, it's like, we have no idea what Krishna has in store for us, but that's actually what it comes down to. It's actually what it comes down to is that we can really have this effulgence of pure love for Krishna, source, the all attractive source, and it's becoming we're getting roused from our slumber. That love is getting woken up. So thank you, Nancy. Did you hear anything?
Yes, I thank you so much for this class and for everybody's present and association. Yeah, I keep on thinking, because you're non-envious of me. Keep on
Mm.
that phrase keeps on recurring in my mind because it's something that Krishna says repeatedly in the in
Right.
the in the Bhagavad Gita of
Yeah.
why I'm imparting this wisdom or why I'm singing to you or this love song that I have is because you're not envious of me. And I've taken classes at Oxford University in this text and that, and it's really the difference between hearing about it from a academic perspective without that love and that deep heart space, and hearing about it from somebody like yourself, a devotee with this heart, so much different. And I think that I'm in a place where rather than I have to know everything. Give me every book, and I got to study because I got to find out. I got to get it together. I'm sort of just sitting
Mm.
and being and hearing. And if I miss something, okay, maybe I'll hear it another time. But you can get sort of crazy when you come into this because you really feel like, I can push my way academically into learning everything, and then it's going to come. And that, for me, I think that was almost a barrier that I did so much of that. And, I bought the Bhagavatam now it's maybe 15, 20 years ago and
Hmm.
was reading
Wow.
this and I'm like, well, I know you're saying I can't really do this by myself, but you know what? I'm just going to do it because I'm better than everybody else. And after a while, I'm like, I'm not getting the nectar. And I put it aside until in 2019 when I heard Raghu started up the Super Soul Sangha reading this from Bhagavatam, and that's where I started to get into wisdom of the sages and stuff like that. So it makes an enormous difference. And I'm reading the Na
Bhagavad Gita.
Arayaham with Rukmini.
Napariyaham.
Yeah, and what a gift for her to do this with me one on one, and we're both just crying the whole time. Tears are, it just is so much different, and I can't tell you everything that I've read about it, but I just know that I'm feeling it.
That's a book by Shivaram Swami, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's great. He's a terrific scholar. Napariyaham, how Krishna cannot reciprocate with the pure love of his.
Yeah, well, she knew that I was so stuck sometimes in my head about things that she wanted me to really connect with my heart, which has happened. So, that is a true guru to me, recognizing sort
Right.
of a weakness, or not a weakness, but a place of growth that its potential, and then to, uh, seize on that so that they can help me. So, but
Yeah.
thank you so much. I love all of this. So I agree with Tanya. Morning, noon, and night if I can do it.
Yeah, and in Bhagavad Gita, amen, me too. I hope I get, by your mercy, all your mercy I can hear and chant morning, noon, and night. In Bhagavad Gita, the verse that Srila Prabhupada gave the most classes on, commentaries, is 7.1. And in 7.1, it's the beginning of the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's where Krishna really opens up about himself as a person, and Bhakti really becomes prominent. And the verse, it says, now here, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga and full consciousness of me, with mind attachment, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Now hear, the primacy of the hearing. And then in 9.1, it says, Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave. Now because you're non-envious of me, anasuya, hear from me, the supreme knowledge, the most confidential knowledge. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, this most confidential knowledge, the most secret of all secrets. It's a chapter where he really is like, if you serve me food with love, I'll take it. I will receive it back. Like, just be my devotee. I'll give myself to you. It's the most confidential knowledge. So that non-enviousness is there. That freedom from aversion, freedom from another motive, and again, the hearing process is stress. So both of those verses really bring that out. So thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we made it. So let's all extend our blessings to Kishori Gopi, who's going to the Govardhan Eco Village, and she's going to be in the Association of Great Devotees and His Holiness Radhanath Swami, and she's going to be, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be studying the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, studying Bhagavad Gita.
And serving how I can.
And serving however you can, and hearing, and going to morning program, and chanting probably extra because it's easier there. And then I'll join her, Krishna willing, in a couple weeks. And whatever benefit you get, we're all going to get some too because we're appreciating it. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Kunti Maharani ki jai, the devotional service of others ki jai. Now let's offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like desire trees. They can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for all the fallen conditioned souls. Jai, Vancha Kalpatarupyascha, Kripasantuvyeva Patitanam, Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Have a great day, everyone. Happy direct and indirect devotional service.